What's up, beautiful people? Welcome to the channel that is empowering you with the knowledge to help you build generational wealth. My name is Mia, and I reveal the financial education that we do not learn in high school. Recently, I saw a post from the Shade Room letting us know that the Federal Fair Debt Collection Practices Act is making some changes. So I decided to come on here and make some things very clear. If you didn't know, the Federal Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, or we're just going to call it the law because that's too much, but it's the legal regulation that has very specific laws that creditors and collection agencies must follow. And apparently it has been updated to allow debt collectors to contact you by email, text, and even through social media. Before you start snatching down your posts, flexing all the stuff you bought with the money you owe your creditors, we see you. Understand that debt collectors still have strict regulations that they must follow. They just count on you not knowing your rights, but I got you because I'm about to reveal it all. First of all, while they can find you on social media and even text you, they cannot make public posts. They cannot comment where it can be seen by the public, and if they do DM you or request to be your friend, they have to self-identify as debt collectors. And they still have to abide by the time restrictions. Debt collectors cannot, and I mean are not supposed to contact you outside of the hours of 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. And that is in your time zone, sweetie, not theirs. Any violations should be reported. Now, it may have been a little difficult to prove harassment with just phone calls, but who doesn't know how to screenshot today, okay? So I've just told you the rules. Let's hope they're not stupid enough to break them. But the point is, you have rights. You have the right to tell them not to call you at work, not to call your family. You can even opt out of the text messages. The full extent of the law can be found on ftc.gov. If you want to take a look to fully understand all of your rights against unlawful creditor and debt collector practices, I will have the link in the description box. Now, there are several strategies that you can apply when dealing with creditors before it even gets to collections that can help to save your credit and avoid even having to deal with debt collectors. If you have a case like this or have a question about your specific circumstances that I might not address in this video, then leave a comment or you can contact me via my website, email address, or any of my social media. Everything is in the description box. I do have planned content to push, but if you have questions, I will prioritize them. You just gotta let me know. But if you want to know how to deal with collectors, how to settle your debts, improve your credit score, and get those collection agencies off your back once and for all, you don't have to DM me, you don't even have to pay me. Just stay tuned and watch to the end so you will not miss any of these secrets. What's the first thing you do when a debt collector contacts you?
Ignore them.
Tell them to go to. Okay, those are some interesting approaches, but no. Again, it is important that you know your rights. And the first thing you should do when a collection agent calls you is validate the debt. This is what I did not do because I did not know to do this. Don't think for 1 second that collectors are your friends or are always legitimate. They just want your money, point blank into the period, poo. So there are collectors that will try to collect on a debt that you no longer owe. Legally, a debt collector should send you a debt validation letter or validate the debt within 5 days of even contacting you. So first request for the debt to be validated. The debt validation letter will tell you how much you owe and who the creditor is. If you don't recognize this debt, then you can dispute it, but you have 30 days to do it. If you don't dispute it within 30 days of receiving the debt validation letter or having your debt validated, then it will be considered valid. And the way that you dispute debt is by sending a debt verification letter, completely different from a debt validation letter. Debt validation is to validate the debt a collector is trying to get you to pay. A debt verification letter is a letter you send to dispute your debt. So send a debt validation letter and do it in writing. It is best to do so via certified mail so you can request a return receipt, which proves that they received it, okay? That's important because when they receive it, they are not allowed to contact you at all until they have responded. That means no phone calls, no letters. They can't even report it to the credit bureaus until they have responded. These letters are what you are paying credit counselors and credit repair agents to send. You can send your own letters. Why? Because if this debt is valid and or verified, then it will be reported back to the credit bureaus. So if your credit score went up after you paid somebody to validate the debt or dispute it, but then you find out the debt is valid, then it's going to go back down. But are you going to get your money back from the credit scammers? Okay. The verification letter is what credit repair personnel send off to clean up your report. But just remember, you can only clean errors. If the debt is valid, it will remain on your credit report until it is properly settled. So it may look like your credit has improved, but if they respond and they say the debt is yours, the improvement won't last. Now, in me, you have found a personal financial advisor that loves you and really wants to see you win. So if you go to my website, I have free templates, free for you to use for debt verification letters. Have you subscribed yet? Again, the law requires debt collection agencies to respond to debt validation requests. And if they don't, you can report them and even sue them. But you have to do your due diligence and keep track of everything. Keep every document, track all of your calls. You need to keep a detailed record even after the debt is settled. When you are disputing a debt, what is the objective? You want them to prove to you that the debt belongs to you. They say it's valid, but does it validly belong to you? Validating the debt should prove you owe it, how much you owe, if it is past the statute of limitations, if they even have the right to be pursuing you for the debt. Did you know there is a statute of limitations on how long action can be taken against you for a past due debt? If they can get you to make a payment on a debt that is past the statute of limitations, then you will have made the debt active and they will have full recourse to come after you for the full balance. So make sure that you validate the debt, then dispute it, aka verify if you are not sure. Now, if a debt collector can't verify your debt, then they have to stop contacting you. And they have to let the credit bureaus know as well so they can remove it from your credit report. And again, you want to maintain record of this just in case it pops back on your report so that you can notify the credit bureaus. And if the debt collectors don't do what they're supposed to do, remember that you can report them. Now, I do not condone not paying a debt that you owe. Y'all be mad when people don't pay you back, but walk around bragging about the loans that you don't pay back, okay? But that ain't none of my business. Anyway, if you owe the debt, but you cannot afford to make the payment in its entirety, listen closely. In the verification letter, you should have been provided who the original creditor is and how to contact them. If that information is provided to you, it might be better for you to contact the creditor to settle the debt. Why? They've already sold it. Your debt is no longer on their books. That means they have written it off, which is why the collection agency is calling you, because they have bought your debt from the institution that you owed. And I promise you, the debt collector did not pay what you owed. They paid less. So you can settle with your original creditor for less and be done with it. But like I said, in all likelihood, it's actually possible that the debt collectors don't even have good record of it. They're just trying to get your money. So again, if they can't verify what you owe and who you owe, it will be that much easier to pay little or really nothing to eliminate the debt in its entirety. Now, let's say the debt is valid. Then they turn around and they verify it, but the creditor wants nothing to do with it. Know this: the law prevents any collector or creditor from accessing your bank account and even garnishing your wages without having gone through the proper legal proceedings. The only exception are for debts owed to the IRS and federally insured student loans. Iris and Sally Mae, they're gonna get their money, okay? But they are the only ones. Other than that, no one can access your accounts or take your pay. So if they threaten to call your job and file with them, they're lying. It's a scare tactic. Don't be afraid, even if you do owe the debt. Again, remember, debt collection agencies purchase this debt for less than what it was originally worth. So if you can't make the full payment, you can negotiate. Collectors will typically settle for 30% or less. And here's a negotiating tip, so don't say I don't ever give you guys anything. Your first offer should be lower than the maximum amount that you are able to provide. Let's say you have a $500 medical bill that went to collections. Collections probably paid $150 for it. Now, coincidentally, 30% of that $500 medical bill is $150. So if you know that your max is $150, offer $75. They may take it, they may not. But do not let them pressure you into settling for more than you can afford. If you went in knowing you can do $150 and no more, then that is where negotiations end. You tell them at that point, take it or leave it. And I promise you, they will take it. Now, this is definitely more than 5 tips, but once you settle on an amount, these are the last steps. So listen closely. Get the agreement in writing. Have them email it to you, mail it to you, but do not take them at their word. And that goes for if you settle with the original creditor as well. You are not required to give them any personal information ever. You do not have to give them personal information to verify your identity, and you never give them access to your bank account. When you seal the deal, you send them a certified check in the mail and you get a return receipt proving they received it. And you only do this after you receive your written notice of the deal you worked with them. Bonus tip. Now, if you lasted this long, leave a comment and let them know that these tips are golden, all right? Now, I know that this is a lot of information and attention spans can't really handle it. But when you pay off a collection, that does not automatically mean that it will fall off your report. It will simply show up as a paid collection, which is still negatively going to impact your credit score. So remember, our goal is not to just get rid of the debt in collections, it's to improve our credit scores. And the way to do this is to work it into the deal. When you say, I'll pay you $150, that's all I got, and then they say deal, then you can request that they also remove the negative report and you get this in writing. So until you get a letter or an email settling the debt for the amount that you agreed upon, and it says that we will remove the inquiry with the credit bureaus, then and only then do you send them a certified check. And of course, keep all of this documentation. Even after the debt is settled, have it filed away just in case. There are special circumstances regarding medical bills and how they are handled when they go to collections. I provided the information on my Instagram, so go follow me. There's good information from me all over the place. And that is why you should make sure that you subscribe, like this video, and share it with anyone that you know may need this information, all right? Until the next time.